And we indeed are live. Thank goodness. This is Ingram Jones from Bayloric Worldwide Television, and we are here for another sports roundup. The sports roundup this time is, as you can see from the title, we'll get straight down to business. Amir versus Kell Brook. The 70-30 split. Amir is not happy about that, but I don't think it's just about the 70-30 split. This is my personal opinion, and there's a number of reasons why I think this fight is broken down. In fact, I mean, how close was this fight even how close was it to actually being made? There were a few stumbling blocks. First of all, the two guys don't like one another, where you'd think that would make a fight. Not when one guy, in my opinion, is significantly more A-side fighter and the other guy is a B-sided fighter, in my personal opinion. I'll break that down for you in a moment. Also, as we know recently, Amir Khan, as you know, that was posted on this this channel, Amir Khan's shocking revelations of his family life and what he'd been getting up to in his personal life. Some say it shouldn't affect his boxing career, but I would disagree. When you're a married man and you're getting hell in your family life and personal life, it probably makes it very difficult for you to focus and do what you need to do. There are people out there that wanted to verify the source and went as far as to watch the video in full and then tweet about it on Twitter. It wasn't something I was particularly interested in. It was a piece of news that I was sharing, and that was that. So let me see, before I keep on yet go talking on. Dave says, screw Brook, ducking Spence. Lakvinder Singh says, I heard Khan wanted 70-30 split with the belt on the line. It should be 50-50. Dave says 60-40. Well, okay. Well, first things first here. Now we heard, or there were rumors that Kell Brook was going to give up the IBF title. Now, do you remember when, let's take you back a while with Kell Brook and his promoter, Eddie Hearn. And if you remember, Eddie Hearn making it very clear that Kell Brook had to fight these mandatories. It was because of these mandatories that Kell wasn't allowed to be involved in big fights. Okay, that was a stumbling block. His mandatories, his mandatory defense against Yo-Yo Dan, his mandatory defense against Bizier. Okay, the big fight he had against Sean Porter was, well, that was sink or swim. So he had to take the Porter fight. So he got the Porter fight, and some people still question whether Brook actually won that fight convincingly. And some would say that Brook was lucky to leave America with the belt. Regardless, made defense of the titles, fought Frankie Gavin in what his third defense of the title, I think. Whatever. And you know, talk of him fighting Alexander, talk of him fighting Khan, talk of him fighting Timothy Bradley. Remember that talk? Remember when Khan and Brook faced off on ringside? And Khan said, hey, you haven't fought anybody yet. You really haven't fought anybody. Let's just talk about this in a business sense, okay? The one guy on the record that Brook has fought was Sean Porter, okay? Fine. He stepped up to middleweight and got beat by Gennady Golovkin. I don't think many people expected Brook to even beat Golovkin. It was, for many people, a foregone conclusion that Gennady Golovkin was going to destroy Brook. Brook put up a good fight, but Gennady was too big, too strong, the natural middleweight, blah, 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 blah. Now, from my perspective, it's just my personal opinion, Khan has won world titles in different weight categories. Khan has the better amateur pedigree. Khan has fought the better pro fighters. Khan at one point was, for a brief time, the #1 fighter in his division. Kell Brook can never claim at any point that he was the #1 in his division for any point of time. Possibly, but not probably. If you remember, you know, the guys that Khan fought on his way, the likes of Maidana, the likes of Zab Judah, Barrera. I mean, the list goes on and on of fighters that that Khan has fought. You can knock Khan all you want and say he's got a glass jaw, blah, 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 blah. You can say those things all you want, but at the end of the day, Khan has been in the ring and he's dared to be great. That's what promoter Eddie Hearn likes to tell everybody about, daring to be great. Well, let me put it to you this way. If you're talking about daring to be great and putting people like Dave Allen in the ring with Luis Ortiz, a guy who's only had 10 amateur fights and 10 pro fights, and you can put him in the ring with Luis Ortiz, and that's daring to be great. If you can put Kell Brook in the ring with Gennady Golovkin, that's daring to be great. Well, okay. Well, why don't you just do what you normally do? You love your mandatories. Why don't you make that mandatory defense? Is it the fact that you made a big fuss about the mandatories because, hey, the mandatories were winnable fights, and that this fight with Spence is a dangerous fight? Not only is it a dangerous fight, we don't even know what mental state you're in anymore, Kel. We'll talk about Khan in a minute. We don't even know what psychological state you are in, having been beat by Gennady Golovkin and having the orbital bone broken. Physical scars may heal, but emotional, mental scars, how do you deal with being no longer unbeaten fighter? Your O has gone. You've been stopped. You've been beaten. You've now faced a guy who took your best shots and came back and put it on you and beat you. You know, but you went in the ring. Did you believe you were going to win the fight? This is the first time you were considered a real underdog in a fight that you weren't coming into the ring 50-50, more to 80-20. So significant. So what is your, I know it's all right to talk in front of cameras, but why are you not jumping at this fight against Errol Spence? Because Errol Spence, with all due respect to Errol Spence, he still is an unknown quantity. And Bundu showed Errol Spence can be hit. Errol Spence is a guy that moves forward in straight lines, leaves his chin up in the air, and is able to be hit. Okay, so I'm not saying, I'm not jumping on a Spence bandwagon yet. No, 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 because I can see things. A 41-year-old Bundu who'd been out of the ring a year can find those things. You don't look at the Chris Algieri fight because he's a naturally bigger guy. You know, that people say, well, the Pacquiao couldn't get rid of Algieri and Khan couldn't get rid of Algieri. Both of those guys started at those guys fought at much lighter weight divisions. And in my preview to Algieri versus Spence, I said Spence will walk straight through Algieri and it will be just a one-sided beating. Brook carries power as a welterweight. I wouldn't say he's a one-punch knockout artist at the highest level, but he hits accurately. But does he want that kind of fire on him coming out of the beating he took from Golovkin? Okay, does he really want to be in that? So I go back to say this point. When you take all these mandatories fighting Yo-Yo Dan and Bizier, when you fight guys like that and you say, well, they are mandatory, for me, it doesn't do your credibility any favors. So there was always a question mark about the credibility of Kell Brook. And then when you come to the negotiating table now, when you come to the negotiating table, what are you negotiating with? I've got the IBF title. Okay, you got the IBF title, but what else are you negotiating? I just got battered in my last fight by Gennady Golovkin. Well, you know, everyone gets beat by Gennady Golovkin. Okay, it's okay. Let's look at your record. Who you fought? Oh, you fought Sean Porter. Okay, fine. And that was a iffy win. Okay, sure. Oh, and you bought Frankie Gavin. Oh, right, go. Okay. And Matthew Hatton. Oh, okay. All right. And that's all you're bringing to the table. That's all you're bringing to the table. I have been a two-weight world champion. I fought the best in my division. I fought the best in my division. I was once considered one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, as a light welterweight. Before I fought Danny Garcia, I was considered the best in the world by Ring Magazine, numero uno. I fought the best that's been around. Okay, I've been beaten, I've been knocked out, but I've been beaten by the very best. Okay. Now the guy that beat you as a middleweight himself is still an unknown quantity, because if you look at his record, Gennady Golovkin, there's really nobody on his record yet to stand out to say, yeah, this guy's a great fighter. He's a good fighter. He has the tools to probably make a great fighter, but at what, 33, 34, hasn't still got that big name on his resume yet. You could say people are ducking Gennady, whatever you want to say. Okay, fine. But here's an example of people ducking. Remember when Adonis Stevenson was meant to fight Carl Froch, and Carl Froch wouldn't take that fight for whatever reason. He wouldn't take that fight. What did Adonis Stevenson say? All right, Carl, you won't give me the fight. Moved up to light heavyweight, knocked out Chad Dawson. Do you remember that? So there are ways we can go about that. But let's get back to Kell Brook. So he comes to the table off a beating from Gennady Golovkin with the IBF belt, doesn't want to defend his title against Spence, which is clear. And then they're trying to use, don't be fooled, they're trying to use the Amir Khan fight for special permission not to face Errol Spence. Errol Spence brings in maybe $1 million or a couple of million, but Khan can be that mega fight. So it's down to money. Why do I want to defend my title against an unknown in Errol Spence when I could fight Amir Khan for lots of money? And Khan's looking, sitting back and thinking, haha, so you think you're going to use my name and use my hard work and my credibility to jump onto me, and then, you know, you're going to come and try and demand and call the shots? No, that's not happening. For Amir Khan, he's just got knocked out by Canelo. Okay? He dared to be great, go up to middleweight, but he already accomplished things in the lower weight divisions. He can say, I was the best at light welterweight at one point. Okay? He hasn't done it at welterweight. Yeah, he's moved up, but he hasn't been a champion at welterweight yet. But he is considered in the top 10 welterweights in the world. Okay? Again, you can talk about his chin, but you can never say Khan will duck a fight. But it doesn't make any business sense fighting Kell Brook unless he's got the title on the line. Okay? So, and you don't know, in terms of Khan, what's going on behind closed doors. What is Khan's relationship like with Eddie Hearn? Why is it this fight so difficult to make? I said a long time ago that the best thing for Kell Brook to do was to leave Matchroom and to join Al Heyman. He would have got all the fights he wanted, without a shadow of doubt. He would have got all the fights. Look at them. Thurman, Porter, Garcia. They're all fighting one another. So Brook would have been in a perfect position there to be a part of that. Frampton's getting the big fights. Selby's getting the big fights. So I think it would have been a great move for Brook to. Gale's getting the big fights. So going over to Al Heyman would have been the best thing, I think. And he wouldn't have had a problem with purse bids. Let's be honest, Matchroom's track record when it comes to purse bids isn't the greatest. So I think it would have been more beneficial. And Brook would have fought on more cards in America, so his name would have been more established. I think Heyman may have moved him in a different way. Look what he's done with WBC champion Wilder. He's been able to get Wilder to fight on TV, in not in major fights, but enough to build his profile and to be on TV in America, okay, in front of his home fans. So I think Heyman's done a good job with Wilder when you think about it. And now Wilder is the only champion that fought the man and beat the man to become champion. When I mean that, Wilder beat Stavern beat Areola, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to say about Tyson Fury. I know Fury beat Klitschko. Sure, that's fine. I understand that too. But I recognize Wilder as the man in the heavyweight division at the moment, regardless if I think if he can beat Joshua or not. But so my thinking of this 70-30, no, forget that. I think, in my opinion, if I really want to fight Amir Khan, and prove myself, and I know I can beat Khan, take the 70-30 split, take the fight, you get yourself out of the Spence fight, and you get to fight Khan. But oh no, this is money motivated. This is money motivated, and they know Khan. Hearn knows it. Brook knows it. Khan brings more money than the Spence fight. The Spence fight is too dangerous, doesn't bring as much money in, and there's a real possibility you can get whooped. That's how I see it. So there's lots of people. Let's see what people. There's a lot of people in the room. They're talking. So let's see what they're saying. Let's try and get this. Okay, here. Like Vinda Singh says, I heard Khan wanted 70-30 split with the belt on the line. It should be 50-50. No, Brook doesn't deserve 50-50. Brook's had one decent fight, which is Porter. That's it. So I think 70-30 is good. That will teach Brook for fighting all those stupid fights he was having. You know, IBF needs to trick Brook as soon as possible. Yeah, I think so. I reckon Khan maybe change his mind after his knockout video. He would get destroyed in all the build up in a fight in Kelly in the UK. British fans and media unforgiving. Yeah, I think that at this point in time, in terms of psychological advantages, that video about Khan and his family and all the rest of it, it's not. And against your worst rival, you could all backfire spectacularly. We know Khan in the past is not very good with emotions. It was emotions that got himself knocked out by Danny Garcia. In fact, I remember specifically when I saw him get on the podium in the last press conference of Danny Garcia, and he says, "I'm coming to knock you out." And I knew Khan didn't have the power to knock Danny Garcia out. I said, if Eric Morales can't knock him out, then there's no chance, no way that Khan's going to knock him out. And if he gets caught with the left hook, like the same way Morales got caught, he's getting knocked out. So I ran down to the bookies and I put my money on Danny Garcia. The rest is history. Dave, beat 10 out of 14 world champions. Well, there you go. So Angel Blackwell, I think 70-30 is fair for Khan. I agree with you. At all costs. DJ Slick says split would have been more reasonable for Khan, but 70-30, that's priced himself out of a fight. Not really. Who was Brook fought and beaten? Not get beat by. Who's Brook actually fought? He went life and death with Carson Jones, right? He just beat Porter, and then he got smashed by Golovkin. Really? Is that really what he's bringing to the table? Because if that's what he's bringing to the table as a CV, it's a terrible CV. Not really. Slicks. Brook would have been guaranteed 5 million with a 30% split. Khan talks like he's Mayweather. Well, he probably could talk like he's Mayweather more than Brook can. He's fought a lot of world champions. He's done well for himself. So, former world champions. He's not the A side. How can Khan not be the A side? How many people has Brook fought in world class, and how many people in the top 10 Khan fought? Sorry, Khan is the A side without a shadow of a doubt. Between Khan and Brook, he's the A side. Yeah, of course, Khan's the A side. This fight is worth way more than it was 4 years ago, even when Khan deserved the lion's share. Khan is responsible for the increase in value because he alone is the one that delayed it. That's true. And of course, I think, in my opinion, that the delay's been good because both Khan and Brook's profile has been raised. Imagine this fight was taken 4 years ago. People know who the hell's Brook. They both need each other. So how can it be 70-30? No, they don't need one another. Why does Khan need Brook? What does Khan? He's got the IBF title. So I think that if Garcia were to beat Thurman, then a rematch between Thurman and Khan makes money, makes a lot of money. The rematch, Thurman versus Khan, makes a lot of money. Khan versus Porter makes a lot of money. So he doesn't need Brook. He doesn't need Brook. He is his own brand. He doesn't need Brook. Khan has a brand. He has followers around the world. He doesn't need Brook. Brook is just known inside of Sheffield. Nobody cares for Brook. Outside of Sheffield, be honest. I'm just being honest. Where does his brand go in America? He had to fight against Porter, and people, well, he wasn't great against Porter. He didn't go over and bang somebody over in America, did he? He had that fight in America against whoever it was. He looked okay in that fight against a nobody. So he's just not been. He's not, for me, in my opinion, he's not been given. There's not been enough of Kell Brook. There's been injuries and long layoffs, and no, sorry. I don't think 60-40 is reasonable. 70-30 is good. When you fight mandatories, if he beats Errol Spence, then yeah, I could see 60-40. Because Errol Spence is, quote unquote, the next king of the welterweights. So if he were to beat Errol Spence, yeah, then I'd give him 60-40. But at this point, it's 70-30. For one win on your record, one win? No, sorry. Get out of here with that 50-50 talk. CV is one thing, but I think Brook has more talent. You can think what you like about talent, but CV is what matters. CV is what matters. Do you know, I could sit down and say, well, you know, Curtin Lang was he's got tremendous talent, no world champion. Harold Graham, tremendously talented fighter, never was a world champion. Michael Brody, very talented fighter, never a world champion. So, I mean, you can say what you like about guys looking good, and I can understand that, but when you come to the negotiating table in 2017, it's about who you fought and who you've beat and your brand. That's what it's about. It's business. That's what generates them. Business. How do we sell this fight? Okay, you've got a grudge match with him. Okay, fine. But let's put it together. Let's mix it all up. Okay, you fought X amount of world champions and beat X amount of world champions. And you've got a brand. You've got, you know, lots of followers. You've got, you know, okay, even compare Twitter followers, social media followers. It's just no contest, really, honestly. Brook is just as bad with ducking Spence at all costs, but gloves are mandatory and now avoiding it because it's not busy Gavin or Jojo Dan, like I mentioned earlier on. Dare to be great. Well, why doesn't Eddie Hearn stick by those same words of dare to be great and get Brook to dare to be great and defend his title in his own division? So yeah, you see, it's a little different when you step out of your weight division and fight a middleweight. Say, you got to beat a middleweight. Well, he wasn't really a middleweight, and Grenada's a really good fighter, so we can dismiss that. If you get your ass whooped at welterweight, that brings your value right down by Spence. Your value goes right down. So, and you want to move to light middleweight? Really? He's so skillful. The gentleman that said that. Brook is so talented. Is he talented enough to go up to 154 and be a world champion? I don't think so. Brook should have fought Liam Smith. I thought he should have fought Liam Smith, but people will disagree with me. Should have fought Liam Smith. What would this do in pay-per-view? It's as big as Hearn. Is it as big as Hearn thinks? Hearn thinks a lot of things. But, you know, he's like Pinocchio. He says one thing 1 minute and says one thing the next. So you tell Dave Allen to go and fight Luis Ortiz and tell him to dare to be great, right? But you can't get Kell Brook to dare to be great and defend his own world title. What? All right, well, fair enough. I think it will do 60,000, 6,000, 600,000. Casuals will buy into it. No, I think it's a good fight. I think it's a good fight. I don't, uh, Kelly's a dafty. The fight is huge. Gate alone would do very big numbers. Oh, I agree. I totally agree. But he should fight Errol Spence, and that's it. Smith bangs out Kell Brook. Well, who's Leon Smith for? Who has Leon Smith beat? Who's Leon Smith beat, please? For you to believe that Leon Smith would bang out Khan or bang Kell out. I'm sorry. I don't know about that bit. I don't know about that bit. Can you see Brook Khan being as big as Joshua Klitschko? No. No. I don't. I don't. I don't think that fight is as big. No. Khan Brook doesn't, because it's because of Brook's resume and his profile. See, Joshua's got a very good profile. I know he hasn't fought the best in the world at the moment, but his profile, world champion, and he's about to fight the former best heavyweight in the world. Okay, so Klitschko brings his brand. We know what brand Klitschko is, and we've seen Joshua's, his record and his wrecking machine, and he's knocking everybody out, and he's got beast mode, and he's got lots of muscles, and blah 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 blah. You know the story. So Joshua's got momentum and a story with him, and you've got what they call the immovable object versus the irresistible force. You could build that, but with Brook, what has he got? I mean, so it's really Khan. I think it's Khan that makes the fight, not Brook. What does Brook bring to the table? Defenses against Gavin and Bizier and Yo-Yo Dan and getting smashed by Golovkin? Really? Khan shouldn't have fought Canelo as well. I agree with you. I don't think he should have fought Canelo. I don't think he should have fought Canelo as well. But this is where Khan's arrogance gets to him, and he's got bad advisors. Khan has got bad advisors, very bad advisors, and bad PR. Because why would you go and fight Canelo? What was in it for him to fight Canelo? What was in it for him to fight Canelo? None whatsoever. He was just unnecessary damage. Oh, I was winning that fight until I got nailed. Well, I don't think you tell me honestly. Do you think Amir Khan has improved as a fighter since he left Freddie Roach? And if so, how? Because to me, he's making the same mistakes he made against Danny Garcia, the same mistakes he made against Breeders Prescott, and getting knocked out the same way. So I don't see it personally. Promoters only care about the pound note, not the interest of fighters. I agree with you, Eric. Bro, who wins, Khan or Brook, in your opinion? I'll tell you something. First and foremost, both of them guys got smashed up. Khan, when he hit the canvas, I thought I'm not being funny, I thought he left us. Really. The way he got knocked out was brutal. One guy I thought was like gone, and the other guy was almost blinded. So you had both guys ended up getting badly injured in the fight, right? Khan getting brutally concussed, and Kell Brook was blinded. All right, so both guys haven't fought since, and both guys, you don't know what they've got left. You really don't. Brook and Khan, I would like to see them fight before Khan went and fought Canelo and Brook went and fought Golovkin. That's when I think the fight should have been made, because Brook was still unbeaten. Khan hadn't got comatized by Canelo. I think that was the perfect time for the fight. Now you've got guys who are damaged goods. Broken orbital bone. Is that healing? How is it doing a big fight? When he gets hit with 10-ounce gloves and gets smashed by 10-ounce gloves, what happens there? The speed of Khan. How do we know that if he gets hit there, he's not going to be doing this again during the fight? As for Khan, as soon as Brook hits him, is he going to fall over? I don't know what to think of the fight. What chances would you give Amir if he was to face Spence? Just wondering. No hope in hell. Not a hope in hell. You've got to remember, Spence is not a welterweight. He's a boiled down welterweight. I think Spence is either a light middle or a middleweight, boiling down to welterweight. Khan is a welterweight coming up from lightweight. Remember, a lightweight moving up to welterweight. There's a big difference between that and a guy who's really a middleweight coming down to welterweight. Big difference. So I think Spence walked through Khan, but I don't think Khan, for all the speed he's got tremendous hand speed, but not very good IQ. He doesn't know when to throw shots and when to get away. He doesn't know how to get out the back door. What I mean by get out the back door, he doesn't know how to slip to the sides. Khan. He doesn't know how to throw a combination and know when to go. He doesn't know when to chip. He doesn't know when not to engage. In all his career, he hasn't learned when not to engage. He hasn't learned when to, when you can keep your hands low or drop your hands. He hasn't learned these things. Go and look at the Canelo fight. The way he got knocked out was like schoolboy error. A lazy left hand and Canelo comes over the top of the right hand. Where was it? Where was his chin tucking behind his shoulder? Where was that when he threw the jab? Where was it? It was down here. So Canelo just comes over the top, and you're taught even as an amateur to do that. So Khan's got a lot of bad habits, and all these people that say Khan's got speed, no. Roy Jones had speed. Sugar Ray Leonard had speed. Sugar Ray Robinson had speed, right? Speed and great defensive skills. Khan is not a defensive wizard, or he doesn't pay attention to his defense. He doesn't pay attention to what's coming back at him. And you would have thought from the Garcia knockout and the Prescott knockout, my chin isn't the greatest. I need to make sure I don't get hit too often on it. Let me box in a manner which doesn't allow me. He's not a guy to hit and not get hit. He's one of those guys who throws a lot of punches and gets hit. So in all his career, he has, and the worst thing he did was to go to Freddie Roach. People would say, oh, Freddie Roach made him a better fighter. Well, he made him more attacking, which made him more vulnerable to getting nail shots. So Khan's career, from the start of his pro career, I don't think as a pro, he was taught how to box properly. That is my personal opinion. He wasn't taught how to set punches up and not allow himself to get into positions where he gets nailed. The better the trainer you have, and the more you listen to your trainer, what you want to do is, it's all about percentages. But when Khan boxes, there's 100% chance that he's going to drop his hands in front of you. There's 100% chance as he drops his hands in front of you, he's going to leave his chin up in the air. There's 100% chance he's going to leave himself open to a left hook. There's a 100% chance he's going to drop his left hand, bring a right hand over the top. So if you look at the Canelo fight, and he's like, oh yeah, I was ahead in that fight. Canelo was just like, okay, let me just time you. All right, let me just give the fans what they want. But yeah, okay, fine, okay. So you drop your left hand. All right, you drop your left hand. All right, I'm just gonna wait. All right, and you drop it again. I'm gonna knock you out. Boom. That was it. It was cat and mouse. Canelo was just waiting. There was no way Khan was gonna win that fight. No way he was gonna win that fight. No matter how fast Khan is, his boxing IQ, he hasn't got it upstairs. I'm not disrespecting Khan here. He has great hand speed, but he just, when he fights punches or heavy-handed guys, he doesn't know how to engage with them, in my opinion. But I could be wrong there. I don't think this rivals Joshua Klitschko either. But it's difficult to ignore the interest that the racial undertones will generate here. Well, yeah, of course. Well, you've got the racial undertones with the Klitschko Joshua fight. You've got that. But then, you've also got the undertones there with Khan versus Kell, of course, as well. And whatever else that comes with religion and all the rest of it. So you've got that as well. Would another defeat for Brook be the end of his career? No, I don't think it would be the end of Brook's career. But it's a long way back. Getting smashed by Golovkin, well, people can turn a blind eye to it. Getting smashed by Spence, who really has fought nobody, honestly, it just doesn't bode very well. I'd pick Brook. Khan's kryptonite is timing and power. Brook seems to bring both. Yeah, I'd pick Brook too. Brook has timing, and he has timing, and he's got power, especially with someone like Khan. And you got to think to yourself, at some point, Brook's gonna land. The only question you ask yourself is, when he lands, can Khan take it? And since he got knocked out by Canelo, I know it was, but the other thing you've got to think about, one thing you have to think about, Canelo weight. How much was Canelo weighing that night? So you've got a guy who was a lightweight who moved up to welterweight. No, moved up to, sorry, correction. Who's a lightweight and moved up to middleweight. Okay, so let's get this straight. He was a lightweight that moved up to middleweight, and you had a guy that was a welterweight that moved, who blows up as big as a super middleweight or light heavy. Name me a guy fast hands than Khan. Gary Russell Jr. There's one. Gary Russell Jr. Faster hands. Evening, Mr. O'Neill. I'd watch Kell Brook, but would never watch a Khan fight. Not interested, just a journeyman. I think Khan's finished. Personally, I think Khan's finished. I think he's finished. I don't think you're going to get any better performances from Amir Khan now. I think it's just downhill. I really do. I think he's one of these guys that may just stick around longer than he needs to be in the sport of boxing. Should Khan move down to 140 and focus on winning a belt there? There's a point there. If Burns has potential to be unified champion, then Khan must have a great chance of being successful, don't you think? I think Khan's biggest problem is dedication. I'm not sure how dedicated he is to the sport of boxing anymore. I really don't. I don't know if boxing for him now is a means to an end to earn money. And when I say that is, when you've hit the big time, you become a world champion, you've had celebrity status, you're married, you've got kids. How much does he still want it? You know, you hear Virgil Hunter talk about Amir not being focused in the gym and not giving as much as he needs to. You know, it's not the same. Amir Khan was on the rise and fighting Barrera. It's not that Amir Khan. It's not that Amir Khan who was fighting against even what's his guy's name? Marcus Maidana. Look, let's put something straight here. I don't think Brook can beat Marcus Maidana. I don't think Brook can beat Lamont Peterson. I'd like to see Brook fight Zab Judah. Brook can't beat. I don't think Brook beats Danny Garcia. He certainly doesn't beat Canelo. So those are 5 guys that I don't think Brook can beat. Personally, I don't think. But I just said Gary Russell Jr. in terms of faster hands than Khan, better hands, more intelligent. Kawasaki, but Kawasaki doesn't get KO'd. Kawasaki's fast hands, yeah, but look, there's an example. Kawasaki knows how to move. He knows how to slip inside. Kawasaki will throw a combination and slip out. Kawasaki knows to duck and weave and move. Kawasaki had rhythm. You don't compare Kawasaki with Khan. Khan just has fast hands, but he's not thinking fast. He's got fast hands. He doesn't think fast. You know, his hands are faster than his brain. Yeah, that's Khan. I'm not disrespecting Khan. I'm just showing you his boxing IQ is not the greatest. Why would you drop your hands in front of a guy that's probably weighing 180 pounds? I mean, you just anyway. Angel Blackwell X says, Michael, Virgil Hunter some things fit this up well. Khan may have fast hands, but he's slow in processing things. Bang! And I didn't even read that. There you go. Slow in processing. I said it. Khan will beat Brook. Don't know. Khan's finished. Who's Khan's best winning group? I was impressed by the Zab Judah fight. I was impressed with the Marcus Maidana fight. The Marcus Maidana fight I was very impressed with, because I thought in that 10th round, if that fight had been in other parts of the world, Khan may have been stopped. But that Maidana fight was a great fight. I thought the Marcus Maidana fight was a great fight. His best fight was against either Marcus Maidana or Zab Judah. When you look at what Marcus Maidana and the hell Marcus Maidana gave Floyd in his first fight, I would say the Marcus Maidana fight. Amir Khan's win. Brook eye socket, one blast, that over. Brook greedy against Gennady Golovkin, and that would have won Amir Khan fight. But now he's eye socket busted, won't recover in a year, no chance. I agree. Maidana, Judah, I never rate Kotelnik. Kotelnik looked great because he beat bloody what's his name? What's the guy from Wales? Oh, somebody will come up with his name. I can see him already. Squat, short guy. Oh, not Gavin. Gavin Reese. That's it. Gavin Reese. Take Kotelnik out of there, right? So Judah and Maidana, yes, I would agree. But Judah's washed up now. But yeah, now he's washed up. When he fought Khan was a long time ago. And he's only a good 6-round fight, yeah? Only good 6 rounds. Yeah, when he can punch and he can box. But Brook wouldn't beat a prime Zab. Too fast, and he's got boxing IQ. Khan hasn't. I agree there, Leon Jones. Good to see you in the room. Dark Matter says Brook is going to clock Khan at some point in the fight. Game over. I agree. My top UK fighters today. Top UK fighters today. Okay, here's a guy I really rate really highly, and I really like him. I want him to be fight more. Liam Walsh. I think he's a very good fighter. UK fighters. Of course, I like Tyson Fury. British fighters. Top 5 British fighters. Damn. It's a tough one. A lot of them are. A lot of the British fighters are hyped up. I like how Anthony Yard's coming on. I like Anthony Yard. Like look at him. Not a big fan of Crawler. I like Ricky Burns. Don't think he's that talented, but I just like the heart and guts that Ricky Burns has got to get where he's gotten to come back. I like his story. I like Mitchell Smith. Whether he's world class or not, I don't know. I'm not convinced of Ryan Burnett. I'm not convinced of him at all. But that's down to other people. Who else? David Hay. I do like David Hay. In terms of excitement, punch power, I like Hay. And the way he tries not to get hit and hit, I like that. I like Tony Bellew just because I think Bellew actually is a good boxer. Yeah, he doesn't do anything great, you know, but he's got a good jab, good right hand, uppercut, hook. He's got everything a typical boxer could have. He's not great. He's just a good boxer, and I like him because he's exciting to watch. Derek Chisora, because you never know what's going to happen with him. And he's funny. I like Derek. And then the other guys, such as AJ Carter. I like Marcus Williams. Marcus the Great Williams. I like his style. And there are a few others as well. But, yeah. What do I think of Khan Thurman? Thurman will knock Khan out because he's going to catch him one wide shots, and Khan's going to drop his hands, and Thurman will come on over the top and knock him out. What do I think of Williams versus Smith? Not much, really. Ingram, what are your thoughts on Warren's BT thing today? Think they can give Sky a run for their money? Well, let me tell you something. If Sky keeps going down the slippery road of having mates or brothers commentating on brothers and mates, biased commentary, if they keep going down that road, then yes, it was so refreshing, to be fair, to watch ITV Big Fight Live. It was great. I do like Ronald McIntosh, but Ronald McIntosh, no disrespect to Ronald. Ronald, if you're watching, I'm not being disrespectful. Love you, bro. Ronald McIntosh is for radio. Ronald McIntosh is great. You close your eyes in your bed and you're listening to the boxing, or you're in your car. Ronald McIntosh is for that, but he's not for BT. He's not for TV. Great to see Duke McKenzie there. Kind of feel sorry for David Price. I hope he does the business against Christian Hammer. Maybe his handful there, but I hope he beats Hammer, knocks Hammer out. It'd be great for him to do that. So Duke McKenzie's good. He does talk very solid. Duke McKenzie doesn't hype people up. He just talks stuff. I I can't believe that McIntosh said that Robbie Davis Jr. was world class. What? Anyway, yeah, good to see Big Fight Live back. But the BT thing, fantastic. I'm just glad. Competition is great. And I want him to make Sky sweat. I really do. And I'm backing Frank Warren all the way. C. Fisher has changed his tune about women's boxing. Well, I don't think the Katie Taylor thing with Eddie Hearn's going to last. Mark my words on that one. It's not going to last. Her second fight, was it a second fight or a third fight? Wasn't that impressive. And didn't get the knockout. It wasn't that impressive. Let's see what Nicola Adams does. The UK. I think Hearn probably thought that he'd get the Irish crowd, but that doesn't sell very. It hasn't sold very well for him, I don't think. So we'll see. But I don't think the Katie Taylor Eddie Hearn story is going to go much longer. Personally, said he's the face of women's boxing, but Eddie Hearn say that today and do something tomorrow. I don't think that will last, but we'll see. We'll see if he sticks with it. Ryan Burnett is going to have a Luke Campbell, Charlie Edwards moments. Once he comes up with a world level puncher, he could get exposed. I don't rate Ryan Burnett. I just don't. I think it's because he's with Adam Booth and because of Carl Frampton. I don't rate Ryan Burnett. I watch him fight Booth. And I saw him go 11, 12 rounds of Booth. Thought, no, this guy, sorry. You got to be taking guys like Booth out. He didn't do it. And he was making this big puncher and all the rest of it. And Booth just old manned him. So, no, sorry, not for me. Huey versus Parker on BT soon? I bloody well hope not. I want to see Huey Fury. Okay, again, another fighter, Huey Fury. I'm not biased, right? I like the Furies. But when it comes to Huey, have you seen a fight yet with Huey Fury where he has not been ill or he's not put on a unsatisfactory performance? I want to see Huey in a performance, back-to-back performances with him, healthy, well, putting punches together, knocking guys over, looking impressive, and then take that Parker fight. I don't want to see him take a Parker fight when he's been out of the ring for so long. And the last fight you've got to look at was that Fred Cassidy fight. I mean, Peter's the trainer, he knows, but I didn't like what I was seeing in that corner from Huey. Mentally, I didn't like what I was seeing. And if he has another health issues or health problems when he's fighting someone like Parker, who's a bit of a puncher, I don't want to be seeing that. So I hope not, but Parker may jump at the opportunity and say, you know what, this guy hasn't fought in a while. I'm fresh. I've just come off an Andy Ruiz win and might take it. So Parker has impressed me personally. He didn't look great against Ruiz or Takam. Huey has a big chance there. He does. But which Huey Fury is going to turn up? The only Huey Fury I know at the moment is the Huey Fury that's not been well. That's the Huey Fury I've seen, and that's the Huey Fury I can judge. He's got a great jab, puts his punches together very well, very good upper body movement, but all that stuff. But I got to say to you, but I haven't seen him do anything spectacular yet. He's got the tools, he's got the skills, but I haven't seen him put it together yet. You know where you've seen glimpses here and glimpses there and glimpses there. You want to see him put it together one night and say, yeah, there's the performance. Look at that fight, right? I've seen that fight. I've seen him fight well. I've seen him fight healthy. I've seen him put the punches together well. And he's come out of a fight unscathed, not puking in the dressing room. Yes, I'm confident of him going for the world title. You know what I mean? At least when you saw Tyson, you saw him put it together. You saw how he looked with the Nevin Pajcek fight, where he was getting knocked down and all the rest of it. Then you saw the Cunningham fight when Peter wasn't there. Then you saw him putting the Hamer fight he put together. You could see what Tyson was building. Then you had the Klitschko fight. You saw that was almost the climax, the Tyson Fury journey at that era. Because I think when Tyson comes back, it's going to be a different era when Tyson comes back. Well, if and when he comes back, it'll be a different era. It'll be the new journey to becoming world heavyweight champion again. But we'll talk about it on another video. Why don't we get to see the personalities of Hearns, the Sugar Rays, the Haglers these days? Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of reasons why that is. And that leads me on to an interview I did with James Ali Bashir. For those people who don't know who James Ali Bashir is, he was Emmanuel Stewart's right-hand man. So if you want to call Emmanuel Stewart the best trainer in the world, or one of the best trainers in the world ever, Then James Ali Bashir was right beside him. James Ali Bashir was around Ali's time, so he's a man that's got tremendous talent as a coach, as a mentor, and he's currently the trainer of Alexander Usyk, the WBO cruiserweight champion of the world, and assistant to Vladimir Klitschko when Vlad's been having that 10-year reign. Also was helping out Lennox Lewis in his reign, and many other fighters as well, Shannon Briggs. The list goes on and on and on. And I had somebody comment on my channel and said that I should separate boxing from politics. And you do need to say this. And I said, well, as much as that sounds great, when you are dealing with someone like James Ali Bashir, who has actually been a part of the civil rights movement in America, you can't separate that. That's just who they are. And I just think, in my personal opinion, we don't allow fighters to be personalities anymore. The Sky. Well, first of all, if you want personalities, you need personalities to bring out personalities. But if you've got somebody dry behind the camera asking questions, they don't have personality. And what you're tuning into is not tuning in to watch the person on the camera, but you're watching the person who's asking the questions is more important than the person that you should be interviewing. That's where there's a problem. And I think far too often in boxing today, in my personal opinion, it's not about getting the true story behind that fighter. It's about views. It's about who's holding the camera. It's about, and that's why I think the personalities are lost. If you go back in the day, you look at a Nigel Benn and Michael Watson, there was a story behind them. There was a story being built. But all these fighters now, you can't build all these stories around him. And the only time you get to see a story built is when they're going to big HBO or Showtime big pay-per-view events. And I know what I'm talking about here because it leads me on to my next point. For example, Terence Crawford. Do you know that we, Bayloric Worldwide Television, are the only media outlet still today that has 2 interviews with Terence Crawford that last more than 15 minutes? Okay? That tells you something. That tells you what today's market is about. It's about McDonald's type interviews. 5-10 minutes, that's it, bang. That's why you're not getting to know the personality of these people. You really need to really spend time. When you spend an hour interviewing a promoter, when you should spend an hour talking to a fighter, you know, I think that's what's missing. We need to be looking at building a relationship with fighters. Building relationships with fighters. That's why you're not seeing their personalities, because everything's been edited out now. You've got likes of Adam Smith that are editing out fighters, and when they go on ringside, it's all very politically correct and stuff. Whereas back in the 80s, guys were able to just be themselves. All right, so that's why I think there's a problem there. I think it's not so much the fighters, but it's about money now rather than getting the viewer engaged. Why? You can see the personalities coming out because they're actually looking to target the audiences. And while they're targeting the audiences, if the fights are good, the money's going to come. Whereas in boxing, if the money's right, the fights will happen. Do you understand me there? And with that, I think you lose a lot of those things. But I'd love to hear what people think about what my thoughts are there on that. Is Nicola Adams a better boxer than Katie Taylor? Thought of her signing with Frank? Well, she's double Olympic champion. Doesn't that answer your question? Well, Katie Taylor's won the Olympics once. Nicola Adams has won it twice. I don't see a market for women's boxing at all. I do, but it's where it's positioned. You remember back in the day, when you had Layla Ali, you had Ann Wolfe, you had the preacher's daughter. Was it Preacher's Daughter? Look, you had $1 Million Babe, the movie. You had what's her name? The baddest woman on the planet, and I've interviewed her as well. Oh, I can see her now, and I forgot all about her. But I interviewed her. Baddest woman on the planet. At those times, when you were waiting to watch Lennox Lewis fight, or Mike Tyson fight, or Evander Holyfield fight, women were boxing. And I tell you something now, I would rather watch women boxing, right, than some of the drawn out, boring fights that have been on HBO and Showtime. I mean, fighters you're watching at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, and you know they're fillers. They're like this, and you're dribbling down your mouth. These are the people in UK and Europe, not in America. And dribbles coming down your mouth, and you're trying to hold on to the big fight. So yeah, I'd love to see more women in boxing. Hearn thought he could make Taylor the female Conor McGregor in boxing. Was never going to happen. Well, you know, when people think that they think they can do anything and everything, you know, sometimes reality has to hit in. Thoughts on Billy Joe Saunders working with Adam Booth? Gone forward or backward steps? Well, we know Adam Booth is not a master tactician. That was exposed when Andy Lee fought Billy Joe Saunders. Instead of Andy Lee putting pressure on Billy Joe Saunders early, testing the gas tank, and really landed big, heavy punches, he got Andy Lee boxing. So that's Adam Booth out the window there. Adam Booth has got a unique style, hit and not get hit. That's what we know of Adam Booth. I don't think Adam Booth has done it. Has Adam Booth produced anything else? George Groves, David Haye, boxing, fought exactly the same way. Who else has Adam Booth really touched and done great stuff with? Anybody, any big name? You look at any big name, how long do they stay with Adam Booth? Price was there, Price left. Cleverly was there, Cleverly left. I think Mitchell Smith stuck around a bit, and there's a little gang of guys who are with Adam Booth now. I think Adam Booth's a decent trainer, but I think product. What have you produced? Yeah, what have you produced? I will say, Ingram, Huey in the last 6 or 7 months has been very vocal in interviews. Well, he needs to be. He needs to be. He needs to get his name out there. He looks and sounds healthy. If he can get motivated, he could be very good. Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess so. He has a bit more attitude. He needs to. Ingram, why hasn't Bashir become an established trainer with a big stable? Well, there's a lot of reasons. We discussed that in the interview as well. There's a lot of reasons. You see, remember, Bashir's part of K2 Promotions, so that's who's that worked with him. So he's had Usyk, he's worked with the Klitschko's. So I mean, he's got a few other fighters he's working with at the moment. There's a heavyweight he's working with, unbeaten heavyweight from the Ukraine he's working with at the moment, and there's a guy in South Africa he's looking to get a hold of as well. So I think Bashir is starting to branch out. Bashir's what, 70 odd? I mean, he's not a spring chicken. So there are things that need to be considered. But he's putting his efforts into Usyk, which is great. And Usyk's possibly one of the best fighters in the world. What do you think about Khan v Brook getting 30% each and the winner gets the remainder? I spoke about that earlier on. Do you think Billy Joe Saunders will fight GGG or Canelo in his next fight? I think he'll fight him. I think he will fight. I don't think, as a gypsy or as a traveling man, I don't think that he will be able to look his community in the face after talking all the stuff he's talked. And I've spoken to Billy Joe. That's another guy I really like. Sorry, Billy Joe. I like Billy Joe Saunders. I think he's a very talented fighter. British, Commonwealth, European world. Done it the right way. I think he will fight Gennady Golovkin or Canelo. I think he will fight him. Who is Frank's best prospect in the stable out of his new signings, in your opinion? I like Anthony Yard, but I want to see what he does against a guy who takes his best shot and hits him back. I want to see Mitchell Smith. I think he can go places. Tyron Nurse is cool. I haven't seen the rest of his signings. Rumors are spreading. Apparently, Billy Joe Saunders has got a contract with Mayoto Morita. What do you think? I don't know. Sorry. Women's MMA is way bigger than women's boxing. Here's another thing. Look at someone like Heather Hardy. Very good female boxer who's now turned her hands to MMA. We've lost another good fighter to MMA. Frank's going to go bankrupt. He's going to bankrupt BT. I can see court cases in prison in Frank's future. Oh, damn. Yeah, Preacher's daughter is Holly Holm. Currently a UFC fighter that beat Rousey. There you go. Curious as to what Frank is planning with Josh Warrington, Oscar Valdez, WBO route, maybe, but his team seemed reluctant to put him in the big fight. I agree. Holly Holm is a great MMA fighter. I agree. Saunders started getting lazy against Lee for 5 rounds, and Booth didn't push Lee to land the big hook. He was losing the fight and just go out and look for the big hook. I agree. MMA is able to sexualize women in a way, in the way they dress while they fight, and the grappling, I think, has a big role. Yeah, well, yeah, if you like that sort of thing. Who's going to win between Chris Brown and Soulja Boy? Well, if Soulja Boy's video of that throwing punches, I think Chris Brown's going to destroy him. Does Billy Joe Saunders have a better chance against GGG or Canelo? I think, I know people are going to kill me for this, I think Canelo's a more rounded fighter than Gennady Golovkin. Canelo fights off the back foot and off the front foot and moves to the sides. I think that Golovkin, I'm not sure how he fights on the back foot when he's put on the back foot. Not when he decides to go on the back foot, when he's put on the back foot. I'm not sure how well he fights like that. I've seen Canelo fight off the back foot, set up counters and throw shots. I'm not so sure how Golovkin, and the way Golovkin gets hit, I don't like. So I'm going to go with Canelo there. It's a shame about Bashir. He should have a big stable, his own gym. He has the real knowledge. He has, not like shitty ass trainer Gallagher. I agree. Do you think Angel Garcia's comments were racially motivated? I was saying, right. Well, let's switch this a second because I'm going to talk more than Amir Khan, Kell Brook. Let's talk about Angel Garcia. If you remember the video I did previously, I did a video on Angel Garcia, and I spoke about how I thought his words were racially motivated and that he should be banned. Well, it so happens that Mr. Garcia is banned from the final press conference. That's not good enough. That's a start, not good enough. Angel Garcia should be banned from his son's corner come fight night. And I'm sure the WBC, somewhere, please, someone tell me, WBC banned fathers from being trainers in their sons' corners. If that's the case, why is he still in the corner? Should be banned. Personally, he should be banned. You should have like a 3-fight ban or something like that, and he should be made an example of, to understand that you can't go to press conferences calling people N-words and all the rest of it. Sorry. And it's not just black people he was talking to. He was talking about illegal immigrants and call that Donald Trump, not on racially motivated and politically motivated, and that stuff can start riots. He needs to be dealt with properly. But the thing is, you see, after the Oscar De La Hoya and the Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy, and that's another thing, Golden Boy coming out with calling Al Heyman the Black Hitler, and he's scum, and he's a this, he's an N-word, and well, you know what? It just shows you that the culture of boxing, as Bashir said, there's a lot of racism in boxing, and it just shows you right there how people can just sit there and not flinch when you see somebody making racially motivated comments, and neither the guy at Showtime flinch, DeBella flinch. It's just the way of the world. It's acceptable. So what he said, what Garcia said was, it's only Angel Garcia shooting from the hip. No, it's unacceptable. And Thurman Class Act did not rise. If that was now, someone like Zab Judah would have popped him one. Eventually, someone's going to pop Garcia's dad, I swear. Eventually, it's going to happen. It's only a matter of time. Our thoughts on this week's fights, Frampton, Selby. Listen, first of all, I keep telling people about the Garcia thing, the Lee Selby thing. Fights. Any guy, not just British, any fighter that fights with a chin in the air and pulls straight back from punches and calls themselves a defensive wizard or the next Mayweather deserves to be shot with horseshit. Sorry for swearing. He needs to be shot with horseshit. He's lucky that guy Eric Hunter was unmotivated and ill-disciplined, because if Eric Hunter was a disciplined fighter, he would have knocked Selby out. We won't be talking about Lee Selby today. Lee Selby is highly overrated. He's a good fighter, highly overrated, and he's going to get found out as soon as somebody's got a good left hook and he leaves his chin in the air, pulling straight back from punches. Only a matter of time. I'm telling you, you heard it here, and he'll get knocked out. Frampton, Cruz, interesting fight. Can Cruz make the adjustments? Frampton's done well. Can he repeat what he did before? Is Frampton going to be 100% on the ball? is he going to be complacent? Is he going to expect the same cruise or a better cruise? If that's the best cruise, then Cruise is in trouble. If there's a 30% better cruise, then I backed Cruise the first time round, even though I'm a Frampton fan. I backed Cruise, and I've been backing Frampton for years. Did an article 2014 Irish Boxing Yearly for Steve Wellings. I did an article in there saying that Frampton would become a superstar in world boxing. He has become that, and I just thought Cruise was going to overwhelm him, but obviously Frampton came and had other ideas. I think if Cruz comes back with the same crap again, then I think Frampton beats him. But if Cruz can up the tempo and set a pace, I still thought that Cruz could outwork Frampton. He didn't. I don't know if that's because he had issues with his dad in his corner and all the rest of it. I don't know, to be honest. So I'd love to see it be 1-1. Then you can have a trilogy. But I don't know. I think it's a great fight anyway. If AJ loses to Klitschko, can he bounce back from the loss? Yeah, of course he can bounce back. And besides, how much money are they making out of StubHub and all the other outlets? They've made their money back easily off AJ through StubHub. If AJ got a spot like that in the UK, there would be uproar. Can you imagine that on Sky Sports News? It wouldn't happen. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. British Boxing Control wouldn't stand for it. Do you think Kell Brook would be able to make 147 again? Don't know. Yeah, he could make 147. It was Yo-Yo Dan. He can't make 147 if it's Errol Spence. Just don't say Errol Spence, and you'd be fine. So Frampton to expose Selby and knock him out in the summer in the eyes of Ingram Jones. LOL. Well, I think Gary Russell Jr. could do it as well. I think I'd love to see Gary Russell Jr. versus Frampton. It shows hand speed of Gary Russell Jr. I love Gary Russell Jr. I love Frampton as well. I don't rate Lee Selby. Sorry. You just, when you watch guys like that fight, like Lee Selby, who are technically flawed, you know it's only a matter of time. What thoughts on the StubHub controversy? Well, if you listen to my interview with a guy called Russell Hartley, he exposes the whole StubHub story, and I've got another interview with Russell Hartley, which I'm going to try and get off my phone and get edited. But he exposes what's going on with the StubHub situation. Tickets that would cost maybe £100 are costing £950 on StubHub per ticket. So there you go. That's something that you need to think about there. Check it out. Russell Hartley interview talking about Pinocchio and the StubHub. Check that interview out. It's very revealing about British boxing. LOL. Brook has been avoiding Errol Spence. He spent 7 years chasing the IBF, and now he's afraid to even say Errol Spence. All these welterweights are scared. Says a lot that they wouldn't put Warrington in with Selby then. Well, look, Selby is flawed and Warrington's overrated. Overrated. Doesn't punch. He's got no punch, so he's going to have a high work rate. And, sorry. Could Josh Warrington beat Gary Russell Jr.? Beat what? No chance. Could Josh Warrington beat Santa Cruz? What? Lee Selby will deal with handle Warrington, but I don't know what Frank's going to do with him. I don't know what Frank's going to do with him. Who would win a fight between you and Kugan Cassius? Probably Kugan Cassius. Who would Kell Brook? Would Kell Brook have lasted longer in the ring with Canelo than Khan did? Points or stoppage? Who would Kell have lasted longer in the ring with Canelo than Khan? Points or stoppage? Well, I think Khan's got better boxing. Brook's got better boxing ability than Khan. I think also Khan fought from lightweight up to welterweight. Brook could never have made lightweight. So Brook probably is a middleweight walking around as a welterweight, much like Errol Spence. So I think that Brook would have done better. I think he would have done a lot better. So, yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Next question. Next question. If Brook Khan doesn't happen, who should Khan fight? A warm-up fight, either between Frankie Gavin or what's this guy name? I think he should fight Frankie Gavin, Eggington, or what's that guy's name? You just talked about a second ago. British guy, British champion. Oh, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about. I saw him. I can see his face in it now. I forgot his name again. Is it Skeet? Skeet? Is it Skeet? Skeet, Eggington, or Skeet, Eggington, Gavin. Any of them three guys, Khan should fight if he's a world level fighter. Skeet, there you go. Let him fight Skeet. Let him fight Skeet. Bradley Skeet, yeah. Let him fight Bradley Skeet. Let Khan fight Bradley Skeet. I mean, the guy deserves a warm-up fight. Do you think Eddie Hearn will let AJ fight David Haye? And I see Haye knocking Bellew out in a few rounds. I see Bellew Haye like Macronelli Haye. See, there is a problem with Tony Bellew. If you go back and look at the BJ Flores fight, if you go back and look at the fight he had against Makabu, see, Tony Bellew's got a problem. Tony Bellew can't block a right hand. David Haye's best punch is a right hand. So you can see Bellew throwing a lazy jab, right hand over the top, fight over. Once Dave lands that right hand, it's as good as over. We'll let Haye get older first, keep him waiting. Well, thoughts on Crawford at 147. Crawford's my boy. After he beats Manny, it's his division for the taking in my eyes. Yeah, quite possibly. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. Manny Pacquiao's got a fight against Jeff Horn. Like I told you guys a long time ago, it would happen. It's now been signed, I believe. And I think they're just going to keep Manny. They're going to wring Manny out to dry until there's nothing left of Manny Pacquiao left. And then they'll throw him to Crawford. And then Crawford will be the superstar boxing if he isn't already. So, yeah. There's any other talking points I want to talk about in boxing? I don't think there's anything else. Do you think Conor McGregor can beat any of the top 10 boxers in the welterweight, light welterweight division? No. No. Conor McGregor's only done 3 rounds. No. 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 No, 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 no. Listen. Look at Diaz. Do you think Diaz could be a good boxer? Sorry, I can't see it. Sorry. Conor, no. Sorry. Can't see. I'm sorry. Can't see it. Mikey Garcia, Vatican, tougher fight than most are predicting for Mikey, I think. Well, Mikey's another one who likes to get hit with right hands all the time. Good fight. Let's see what happens. Right. I think I'm going to come to the end of this now, people. I think I've said my bit. I didn't want to be on as long as I did, but I am here. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. Please share the video. And at some point we'll get it together on this channel where before we do, we have got a crossover coming soon. So not crossover, we'll be changing platforms soon. So when we do, we'll get things together. So we're just biding time at the moment. Chris Eubank versus this guy, I don't know. Eubank training himself says it all, really, doesn't it? Eubank still has to prove that he's a world-class fighter. His best fight is the best guy he fought beat him, and that's all that has to be said about that. Right, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, check out the other videos on the channel. This is Ingram Jones from Bayloric TV. Tired and exhausted. Thank you all for joining me, and as again, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, check out the other videos. Thank you very much. I'm out.